Hey YouTubers, Glynda here. I wanted to tell y'all a story, something that happened to me back in, I think, early 2010. I'm going to be reading you an excerpt from one of my books, because all the things in this book I noticed the other day are relevant to what we're about all to go through here and now. And that's why I wanted to share them with you, because they have to do with the wilderness. The Wilderness Companion Study Guide, which is a standalone book. It's available on Amazon.com. It's got all these little short stories in it. And then it has, if I've never showed y'all this before, it has pages where questions are asked and there are no right or wrong answers. And you can just feel it. It helps you work through what you're going through, is what it's for. You read the story, then you answer these questions to help you evaluate your own situation. Okay, so excuse me, this is one called Desperate for God's Help. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Isaiah 65, verse 24. It was early 2010, and America was in the throes of the Great Recession. Layoffs, bank collapses, and massive foreclosures, and the sad news of suicides of those who had lost all hope had dominated the news for years. Unemployment had been extended, and then the extensions were extended again and again. I was one of the people on unemployment then, barely hanging on, when in February, without warning, they stopped extending it. Overnight, I went from having half enough to pay my bills to having no income at all. You better know God when that happens, huh? There I was, middle-aged, overweight, out of work, and without even a decent outfit to go on interviews with. And that was if you could even go on an interview, if you could even get an interview. My hair had not been professionally cut or colored in years, and my home color jobs had left it looking like a flat, dark helmet. They called that helmet hair, by the way. I had less than no chance of getting any kind of a job, even if there were an opening, and I knew it. Hundreds of overqualified people showed up for every job opening, even at fast food restaurants. Y'all probably remember that time. I remember it. It was a terrible, dark time. I did not have a single job prospect, and it was not for lack of looking. Desperate did not begin to describe how I felt. I fought panic as I prayed harder than ever before and did everything I knew to get God's attention. I deluged every opening I found online with my resume and made phone calls begging for an interview. I posted my resume on every job site I could find. I would gladly have done janitorial work to pay the bills. That is the truth, y'all. I remember many days getting dressed, thinking I would go cold call on companies and hope to find an opening. Then I would sit frozen with fear on the couch, never leaving the house. An extremely conscientious and hard worker, I had never not been able to find work, and I had never lived in such an economically terrifying time as 2010. Nothing had prepared me for that level of lack and fear. Y'all, that is the truth. Those of us who did not live in the Great Depression, when the Great Recession hit, that was some scary stuff for us. You didn't know what to do back then. Everybody was desperate. My prayer to the Lord was that He would create a job for me somewhere, as I knew not many existed at present. I had tithed for years, and I had stood on that promise, so I believed He would answer at some point. Less than a month after my unemployment ran out, a miracle happened. I got a call to interview for a job I was qualified for. And before I go further, I want to intersperse something there. I prayed for God to create a job for me. God is a creator. Whatever you need, He can create it if it's not there. And whatever you praise the most in His personality, that's what you're most likely to see manifest at that particular time. And I had picked that up somewhere along the way studying. The interviewer was an oil and gas broker looking for leasing agents. I searched my closet for something appropriate to wear for an interview. Normally, I interviewed in suits and heels, but weight gain from stress and eating the least expensive food I could buy to make the money stretch for the past year left me unable to wear anything nice I had from years before. I found a second-hand shop in Princeton that had not been open long and picked up a knit suit for $2.99, praying it would fit me. On the day of the interview, I made myself look as presentable as I could. The interviewer, Lisa, was a warm, lovely blonde woman I liked instantly. She put me at ease as she asked me questions about my 10 years of experience. I looked alternately at her and at the carpet, where I picked out the exact spot I was going to get on my knees to beg for that job if she even started to say no. I had to get that job. If I didn't, my son and I would be on the streets. A well-qualified internet technology guy. He had not been able to find work either. Y'all, I'm not kidding you. I sit there, I was talking to her, but I was kind of looking down going, okay, I'm going to kneel right there because I had to have that job. We were in dire straits. And I had not really begun the ministry yet. I was making videos out here on YouTube, but that was all. It was bad. Then I heard her say, we start new people on Mondays and Wednesdays. Which would you prefer? And I was like, did I just hallucinate? I really thought I had just hallucinated that. I found out much later that Lisa was a Christian, and the Lord had spoken to her while she was interviewing me, and he said only 2 words, hire her. Now, y'all, there were no jobs then. This was a job in my chosen field. This was a job in my career of oil and gas, doing what I normally did. I didn't lease so much as I ran records, but I would gladly go by leases. She later confided to me that had only ever happened one other time. I was so grateful to God. I walked out of that office with the job, but not knowing how I would get gas money to go to it every day for even a week, or eat and pay bills in the meantime, or what I would wear to work each day. I knew I needed over $3,000 to pay all my bills and go to work until my first paycheck 6 weeks later. When you go to work in a contract job, it's weeks and weeks before you get paid. You eat a lot of ramen noodles. So I drove home from the interview, having accepted a job 55 miles away from Princeton between Dallas and Fort Worth. Talk about an extreme commute. Knowing I would be driving for hours every day to get to and from work through rush hour traffic, I told the Lord I knew if he had made a job for me, an overweight, middle-aged woman who wasn't even attractive and didn't have any nice clothes to wear, he surely could bring me gas and bill money so I could go to it every day and keep the bills paid in the meantime. And I praised him all the way home because he had done a big miracle for me. I stood on Malachi 3:10 as I praised and told him I knew that he would take care of me. He had already created a job for me in a time of no jobs. Now, y'all remember this. I was standing on scriptures even after he answered the prayer for a job. And I knew these scriptures because I was a tither. From the time I got saved, I became a tither. And I know a lot of you don't believe in tithing. So if you don't believe in tithing, you need to find another scripture you do believe in and be able to stand on that in times of lack, because you're going to need that, okay? And my faith in his ability and willingness to provide did not waver one whit. When I became a tither, I believed because I had seen my mother tithe for years when she had just nothing. And I watched it as he took care of her. I watched as he gave her a raise in her Social Security, and I saw that she never, ever did without. And I knew then that there was something to that. And my faith in his ability and willingness to provide did not waver one whit. A week later, God had spoken to people all over the world to send me gifts of money without knowing why. If that ain't God, I don't know what is, y'all. Some of them were in need themselves. At the end of 1 week, he had brought me exactly the amount I needed to pay my bills and make it that 6 weeks. Y'all, I can't make this stuff up. Our God is faithful. He is so faithful. And because I had tried to do everything he wanted me to do, and I was trying to walk with him and walk in his ways, he honors that, y'all. If you want to live a life of sin, do it. But I'm telling you, you won't have these blessings if you do it, because he don't bless a mess like that. Whatever your need is today, it is not too great for such a mighty God. Can I just tell you that? He is able to create a job where there is no job, and he is able to make it a perfect fit for your skills and education. He is able to bring you whatever you need if you just believe and confess his word. Your need is not too much for God to meet. He can make a job where there is no job, and he can bring you what you need in the meantime. Believe, because he is faithful. Now, I'm going to be doing a podcast and or a video, I don't know which, pretty soon. I want to tell y'all stories of miraculous provision that God has done for me over the years, and 1 or 2 that I know that he's done for somebody that was close to me. And I find those stories very encouraging, and I think that you will too. But right now I'm still getting it together. And y'all please pray for my friend Ray, who is in the hospital. Not Ray Bergman. This is a different Ray that's going to be on the show. He is an older gentleman who fell down a flight of stairs, and he's badly, badly injured. The devil tried to kill him, literally, and you're going to hear his testimony when he's up and well enough to record. but he's in the hospital right now, and they said he's going to be there for a while. He has some great testimonies to share with you as well, and I'm also going to be interviewing his wife. Those are going to be 2 separate interviews because I really want y'all to hear what they have to say. They are just amazing people. They're amazing people. I just love them so much. Okay, that's all I have for y'all today. Thanks for watching. Jesus bless you. Y'all have a great week.